I mean, I personally, think that I have, two jobs, or several reasons for, wanting the kids to be, as educated as they can be whenever they leave my room. And one is, for them to be successful, but also because I know that I'm sending them to fourth grade teachers who are going to have, a fourth grade curriculum to teach and fourth grade topics to teach, and I want them to be ready, for those teachers.
Yeah.
Well, I always think that it's also a big responsibility when you think about that connectedness and then moving on. We spend more waking hours with them than their parents.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we are the single most important influence in their life during the daytime or during the school year because we spend more time with them. And so I think that's a very serious, heady responsibility. And it's not just teaching minds, we're growing people.
Right.
And so there's so much more about that. And we just, I think, support each other and help and do that. Our school is really good about the whole child. We're not just talking about the math.
And I'll find out for sure next year whether our staff is really supportive, because I'm sending all of my babies to the ladies I've worked with for the last couple of years, and so we'll find out whether I've done a good job or not.
Nothing but love, baby.
That's right. But yeah, I don't ever worry about those things, and I think all of us, test scores set aside, are honest about where our kids are at and what they've learned and whether they're ready for the next grade, and if they're not, we're talking to those teachers and we're, helping them. I say, I really couldn't justify retaining this child, but they're not where they need to be. And I just want you to be aware of that, and if there's anything I can do to help with that, I think we do a good job of that.
I said during August and September, I mean, the building here is filled with conversations about, what did you do with this child last year? What strategies did you try? I think we do a really good job here about connecting with other grade levels.
And it's different than, and that's, I just realized that all four of us, there are some teachers here that have been here their whole entire career at Archdale Elementary.
Yeah.
And we haven't. We've been other places, and I think we realize how good it is here compared in terms of the staff, because we've been other places where it's not that way. And so, I used to be extremely guarded about people telling me about a child, and because, it's one of those, don't tell me that, but it's not in a
mean-spirited way.
It's not a, ooh, you better watch it. It's a, here's what, when this happens, this worked really well for this child, you may want to give this a try. Like you're saying, I mean, it's really helpful information. It's not, scaring you.
It's because we want to do what's best for the child.
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
Them to,
and it's not just passing along gossip about a family or a child. It's, these things worked, this helped the child learn better, and I want to pass those things on. They may not work this year, but I want you to be aware that that's what I did.
Right, and I had that same experience with Jennifer, because my first year here, the day you get the rosters, all of them cluster, and they're like talking, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to know anything. Right. Everybody in my room, they have a fresh start. I don't want preconceived notions, and I already had my own preconceived notion about what they were going to tell me, and once I let my guard down and saw they really were trying to help the children and help me help the children, it took a whole nother perspective. It took a whole other perspective to be able to receive that, because I was like very...
But just as then the overall view is what's best for the child, and the whole child really is important, I think, to everybody on the staff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We'll go first.
Or having the time when you do a science lesson to really experiment and to investigate. It's like you say you have 45 minutes 3 days a week to teach science in a perfect world. And you get everything out, they passed out all the things they need, 50, you're looking at the clock, oh my God, and then they're getting into it, and then you're feeling like you got to have them clean up. And they're just starting to learn, that spark is just starting to light.
Right.
And so just feeling like I can just let them do that for another 20 minutes. And it's okay.
Right.
And even in subjects like math, I know one of the things that I've really been struggling with this year is pacing myself in math, and I feel like I am incredibly far behind where I need to be in this point in the year, but it's because I've really taken some time to teach important concepts like equality and place value and number sense, because those are such foundational things in math, and I feel like I really taught it so they understood it, but now I'm starting to panic a little bit because it's oh my goodness, the test is coming up here in a couple weeks. Are they
6 hours of math for 3
days?
days.
Exactly. Are we going to have to do math all day for the next couple of weeks? What are we going to I do so that they have, seen all this before they take the test.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm going to tell my age a little bit. I'm going to talk about two things very quickly. First, field trips. I love field trips. You mentioned them, and that sparked it in my mind. Those are field trips are a way that you get to be casual with your children, a little more relaxed. You get to connect with them in a different way. Plus, everything they learn is hands-on. I mean, when we take them to the
Science Museum.
Thank you. Then they're actually touching things and feeling things and hearing things and seeing things and getting to talk about those things on the bus ride home. And so it's more real. And so I miss that. But I also miss, there was a school I taught at where we had assemblies every month. And each grade level was assigned something different, and we got to learn some of the neatest things. One month it was all about inventors, and so the second grade did a whole little assembly about inventors, and we got to see all the inventions, and they wanted to make inventions of their own after we saw that. And so it's like those kind of things, those teachable moments, they're kind of gone because we don't have time to practice for assemblies unless you're doing the science songs for science night.
Which was way cool.
Thank you. It's all Audra coming out for me. But also just the idea of getting to see, to sing and to dance and to do art projects and things that lead to show that you've learned things in a different way that's not filling in a bubble on a piece of paper.
Or to have those creative activities daily instead. I mean, they have PE once a week, art every other week, all year, music one semester. What was the first semester?
Hats.
Oh,
because we lost Spanish.
Because we lost Spanish.
No Spanish anymore, right. And then, well, we have computer lab once a week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, to really become musically, to spark an interest in being a musician, okay, music once a week isn't going to do it. Yeah. And we've got a beautiful music teacher.
Oh, my gosh.
Blessed
Beautiful.
and talented and gifted in her ability to teach.
Oh.
Same with our art teacher. Some of the projects she gets those kids to, and sometimes it takes her 3 weeks, are amazing, but it's not enough. Kids need art, the arts as a whole. I mean, and I get that at home. My husband's a theater teacher, and so I mean, I can.
Yeah, and I'm. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I used to do a lot more integrating and a lot more projects, and every year it's my. I have a little goal. I'm like, this year I'm not going to get caught up in the insanity. I'm not going to do it.
Right.
And I think each year I've gotten a little bit better. But on the, we had mentioned earlier about how when we were talking earlier that there's this idea that I think maybe used to be true for a while that if you taught. The way we know the good teaching strategies and those best practices that they would do well on those tests, and I think we've gone beyond that. The tests have become such a thing that I don't think just being having good instruction and having them doing good activities in the classroom and learning and collaborating and all that, I don't think it
My first year
translates
teaching
anymore.
was the first year that No Child Left Behind was in like.
Oh, you are a baby.
And so this is my 9th year, and I guess I've missed out on the good old days of not having to.
They were so.
Of being able to do all those projects and everything.
Oh well, and when I taught first grade, now I'm really going 25 years ago. Okay, I taught them how to add, and when they all had learned how to add, we moved on to subtraction. There was nothing, they had to learn certain things, obviously, but you could teach to mastery. Yeah. And you could have the kids who got it earlier doing some more complicated stuff so that they were,
right.
challenging themselves. But you weren't stressed about those 4 or 5 kids that weren't quite getting it yet because you knew you could take the time to make sure they got it. And I don't feel like that. I feel like what am I going to do this week for those kids that haven't quite gotten it yet? Or what am I going to do next? You're constantly planning remediation, and then when there's less and less bodies in your classroom to help you do that.
Yeah.
And 25 years ago, I didn't even have an assistant teacher in first grade, and I never felt like I needed one because I didn't have that stress of schedule and time, and I had appropriate planning time. I had. Yeah.
What's that?
I know. Well, and I know if you come back to, like, part of the reason I've not been able to do as much kind of integrating in projects this year, worse than a long time because we're getting ready for the Common Core, we've had hardly any planning time, and so it's hard to come up with things
Yeah.
when you don't have the time to sit and pull resources.
Right.